Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health TV and Radio Show. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of three. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below so you're notified with every one of my new podcasts on Mondays and Tuesdays. And if you haven't already, join my free group coaching on Telegram with the link below. I teach you on a daily basis with tips and tools to enhance your health. And you will be a part of a like-minded group to support you on your journey, in addition to truly taking control of your health. My goal is to reach everyone on earth with eyes to see and ears to hear my message of healing. So help me with that goal. Share this message and all of mine that actually hit home with you, with your friends that may need my help. And today is a special day, and it's going to get emotional for me. We are talking about how I embraced my faith in my wellness journey, and today is Christmas. It's a special day that I am, as a Christian, we're celebrating the birth of Jesus. And that being said, I'm not throwing my religious beliefs onto you, but I want to share how my faith has helped heal me and done miraculous things throughout my life and my family's life. So it's kind of a hard message for me to speak of, because I know a lot of you out there are of different faith, or maybe you don't have faith. And I don't want to turn you off or steer you in the wrong direction, because I believe all people are doing their very best, and they all have their beliefs that were instilled in them. And my purpose today is just to share God and my faith and how He has led me in my life. I believe in quantum physics. I believe in science. I believe in scalar energy. Obviously, my supplements are enhanced with scalar energy. I believe in astrology. I believe in manifestation. I believe in frequency. That's why my whole company is around supplements that are enhanced with scalar frequency. And my tagline is increase your frequency. I also believe that all of that is in the Bible. I believe astrology is in the Bible. I believe it is all one. And scalar, for instance, did you know prayer is scalar? Scalar energy, I can pray for my friend in Australia and immediately it happens. That is scalar. That is prayer. So a lot of people talk about energy and spirituality and astrology, and they don't think that fits into the Christian faith. But my purpose today is really to show you that it's possible to heal yourself through body, mind, and spirit, as all three of those things are connected more than you know. And I know so many of you are suffering right now, especially during the holidays. It is such a hard time. We're grieving people we've lost. We are reminded of the hurts that we have. It's chaotic, especially now more than ever. I mean, who would have thought that it would be more chaotic than during the pandemic? And I think it's just getting more and more. And people have depression and anxiety, the chronic stress, especially during this time. It's very difficult to see the beauty and the blessings with so much chaotic and negativity in this world. So my purpose today is to give you hope. And I'm going to start by telling you my upbringing. I had parents that are married. I had siblings that were loving. I was in a loving home. I never needed for anything. And so you would think, oh, well, then you've had an easy life. I think it's all relative, right? I grew up in a Christian home. I went to church, and the pastor's daughter was in my grade. So she was always in my Sunday Bible school. And I never felt like I knew enough. I would look around and the other kids and think, gosh, they know a lot more about the Bible than I do, and I'm not good enough. And it wasn't a place that I actually felt like I should be or was accepted, but I went because that's what I did. And that's what our family did. We would go on Sunday mornings. And I even right now pulled out my Bible from third grade. And it's so funny because it has obviously my maiden name on it. And here's a little picture of Sarah as she was in third grade and got her Bible. and really didn't know what to do with it. And I still have it at the age of 48. Um, but at that time, I thought I knew God, but I didn't really know what it meant. Why? Because my life was kind of easy, I guess, in third grade. That's where, no issues really at that time. Older sister not so nice to me and that sort of thing, but all normal. So fast forward through my health journey, where I always knew. It started with I couldn't eat the way my family used to eat. Everyone in my family, no one had weight issues, so it was never about weight, right? So carbs, pancakes, waffles, sodas, sugar. The only thing that my mom always said is, Sarah and my brother, you guys can't eat too much sugar because you go crazy. And so it would make us crazy. But at that time, I also knew that when I would eat certain things, it wouldn't make me feel good. So I was very picky. And then you go fast forward to when I was going through my pregnancies. I have 3 wonderful kids, light of my life, and those pregnancies sucked the life out of me. And being in a place where I had no energy, no digestion, Crohn's disease, colitis, heavy metal toxicity, acne when I was in my 20s and 30s, and my hair was falling out, and I was desperate. There was a day when I looked in the mirror and I cried to myself saying, God, why me? Why me now? And why me at this place? Where are you? And I hit that rock bottom about 17 years ago. I found myself having those intestinal spasms, bloating regardless of what I ate. I would go to a restaurant, and the first bite of food, I would be uncomfortable in my stomach and couldn't really say anything because I wanted everyone else at the table to think that we're enjoying ourselves. I was retaining 5 or 10 pounds of water or inflammation, the irregular menstrual cycles, and like I said, no energy. I knew I didn't have depression, but I was frustrated and I felt helpless. Gastrointestinal doctors gave me every test tubes up me, down me, and around me and said, just take some Metamucil. You have IBS. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. I know that I have IBS because I've looked it up. I've taken Metamucil. It doesn't do anything. I've taken everything else also, a million other things. And in the meantime, I was a mom of 3 children, age 1, 3, and 5, and a wife. And the stress of trying to figure out my health kept me up. And my family duties were high, making matters worse. Then I met David. And David, he's a natural practitioner. He's brilliant. He used a scalar biofeedback machine called the Skio and tested my body for over 10,000 items, from my hormones, organ functions, digestion, to neurotransmitters, emotions, brain health, all of my past traumas, even subconscious hangups would come up. And he scanned me that first time, explained what I was feeling. He literally knew exactly what was going on in my body, and I started crying. Someone finally understood what was going on in my body and understand what I was experiencing. And he said, Sarah, I don't know how you walked into this office. You should have no energy. You should be in bed. How do you function? How are you a mom of 3? And he said, don't worry, we're going to peel you like an onion. And as we take care of one situation, other things are gonna come up. And we have to give you a physical foundation for your mental and your spiritual health. And so as we address certain issues, other issues would arise. But as we address the big issues of healing my gut and my insulin resistance, and who knew I had insulin resistance? Insulin resistance is for obese people, right? No, I had it. And that was part of the reason I had a problem getting pregnant. But I got through that. But now I'm actually able to help people, and most women, with their infertility issues because of what I went through. But anyways, as I healed my gut, lowered my insulin resistance, detoxed from the toxins, all of my symptoms went away. Everything. That laundry list of things I had gone through started just going away. without any medication. And this was the beginning of my understanding that most chronic health issues stem from the same problem. And once you address those root problems, then the symptoms go away. So there I am. I'm on my health journey. I'm getting super excited. I'm diving into, Eastern medicine, Chinese herbal medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, the cutting edge natural supplements, how you can go around issues and heal the body. And the body is then going to be the miracle and heal itself. As I'm doing all of this, my 9-year-old son, it was a mother's nightmare. He was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 9. And I knew something was wrong because this boy who needed so much activity during the day just to satisfy him was all of a sudden complaining about not wanting to go to a 20-minute swim lesson. And we were looking at his blood underneath the microscope and saw the cancer cells intermingling with all of the nutritionally depleted cells. And I don't know if you've ever seen blood underneath the microscope, but the cells are supposed to be nice and dark and round and plump. His cells looked like donuts, and the donuts meant that there was no nutrition in them. And then there were these cells that looked like stars with spikes, and those were the cancer cells. And I started crying. And he's such an old soul. He looked up at me and he said, "Mom, why are you crying? You're going to fix me." And I looked at him and I go, "You're right. You're right." I mean, 2 years into my health journey here from my rock bottom, I had already seen miraculous things come to fruition with my own health. And I looked at him and I said, I am not going to give up. And God gave me this child to take care of, and I was not going to quit until he was 100% back to normal. And I had his buy-in. That boy would do anything I told him because he knew that it was serious. Obviously, he didn't know as serious as what it was, but we tried cleaning up his diet as much as you can. And back then I didn't really know much about diet. I knew something about organic. I knew that maybe those microwavable corn dogs that I was feeding him probably aren't good for him anymore. I gave him some Chinese herbs, and I gave him the flagship product of Accelerated Health Products, the Accelerated Silver. And his energy began to come back. He started acting like a normal kid. And by the way, in school, he was always a straight A student. But during that semester, his teacher said, "This is not your son." And then by the end of the year, she says, "Your son's back. We're not even going to look at those grades during that one semester." But we looked at his blood again after 1 year underneath the microscope. And not only were the cancer cells gone, but all of his cells looked dark and plump and full of nutrients like they should. And the nurse said, "I've never seen such beautiful blood." Now, mind you, this lady was extremely blunt and honest. And the first time I had gone in, she looked at me and she goes, "Mom, you better do something now. This boy is in serious trouble." And she was not sugarcoating it. So for her to say that, it just meant the world to me. And once again, I started crying. And this time they were tears of joy. And my son looked at me and he said, "Mom, why are you crying? I knew you'd fix me." And it was at that moment I knew that my calling was bigger than just helping my son. I was not looking for a job. I was not looking to be anything other than a mom to these 3 kids and a wife to my husband. And it was truly that aha moment where, okay, God, what are you going to do with me? I'm here for you. It's not about me. It's not about my ego. It's not about me being selfish or what I want on this earth. It's about what you want to do with me. And I knew I had to do something. I had a friend literally that week as I was experiencing this amazing turnover with my son's health, call me and tell me that her 2-year-old daughter was going to be put on not just an antibiotic, but on steroids for a simple cough. This is way before COVID. This is just when it was the cold and flu during October and November. And that's when things were so much more simple. And I started diving into research, talking to my mentor, David, about what more I needed to learn. And the more I knew, the more I knew that I wanted to know and wanted to learn. And if you ask anyone in my family, if I'm by myself, or if I'm on a walk, or if I'm working out, or if I'm in my sauna, or just in the kitchen cooking, I'm listening to a podcast and I'm learning. And as I was doing this, God just kept giving me these winks along the way where there was a time when I had a kidney problem. And I'm like, why me? Kidneys? I've never had kidney issues. And I find a solution. And the next week, I would have 2 clients come to me with that same kidney issue. And every week, I would follow that path. And it also taught me, it was like, oh, wait a second. When I was in college, I laid out my life. I was going to get married. I was going to have kids. This is my profession that I was going to do. I was going to get from point A to Z in a straight line. And with every wink that God gave me, it was like, oh, no, you're going to go from A to B, from B to C, from C to D. And at the end of the life, you'll get to Z, but I'm going to take you on a different path. And it's not going to be what you think you're going to do. And that's where I learned that it was about the journey. It wasn't about the destination. And I had so many people in my life when I started my business that were not supporting me on my journey. Because remember, my health had been at bottom, right? And they dissed me thinking that I was the last person that should talk about health. But what I did, I had my blinders on. I was like a horse who has his blinders on and can't see anything from left to right. And I just focused on God, focused on putting one foot in front of the other, following the path that God had lit for me. And as I was doing that, these little winks would come. So one of my very first clients lived in South County. And she said, Sara, you've got to be on this person's podcast, Extreme Health Radio, Justin Stellman. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not good at speaking. Remember, I was the shy person. I was the girl that was not the big loud voice in high school or even college. I was pretty reserved. And I thought, speaking in front of people, there's no way. And so as I was driving down to go on his podcast in person, I reached out to 3 of my dear friends and asked for prayers. And they just reminded me that God was going to speak through me. So when I got there and I sat in the chair, the nerves fell off. And I just knew that God was going to speak through me. And he was going to help the people that needed to hear me find me, and the people that didn't, not. And I did not feel like I had a big ego to speak, or that I was an authority. But God spoke to me that day when, as well as it went and as good as it felt, he taught me and told me I could talk to thousands of people and help heal thousands of people instead of just one at a time. And of course, my focus was on my 3 kids who had very different profiles. And that was my job. And I always said that I was going to never let my job take away from my family life. And miraculously over the years, there's been room for both. And it's been a growing organically situation. So now, as my business was slowly growing, and we got Jackson, my son, in a good position. Then we go to my second child, my daughter, who literally came out of the womb anemic. The Western medicine doctor said she's anemic. You need to put her on iron pills. And now, fast forward, I will tell you that I know that it's not about iron, it's about copper. But that was something that I had to learn from my own child. She had asthma, allergies, anemia, and I always joke that I loved her at the age of 4, but I didn't like her. Why? She would scream just to try to get her clothes on. She would be rolling on the floor, and you moms know what I'm talking about. She wouldn't ride her bike around the block with her family. Here I had my son who needed 2 sports in a day to keep his energy to tire him out, and this daughter of mine wouldn't get off the floor to put her clothes on. She was always tired. If she got sick, it would last weeks instead of days like the normal kid. Every October, I just feared the Octobers, because as soon as the weather started changing, she would get sick, and she was always tired. We tried supplements, we tried to change her diets, we tried everything. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been a long journey with getting her energy up. And she'll tell you when we joke about it. It was trying to find that balance between physical and mental stressors, and also balancing the fact that she was only a child and I'm a mom expecting her to do adult things. I mean, here I am telling you guys to change your diet and exercise and sleep. It's hard for an adult to do those things. Imagine being a 4-year old, or now going through elementary school, high school, with all of the change in your body and puberty and friends and all of that stuff. But I had her, and we would sit together, and she trusted me. We were a team. And I continued to tell her that God was going to do amazing things with her, and that this suffering was for a reason. And my belief truly with what I had gone through with Jackson was that God gives us these challenges to go through to strengthen the muscles that we need for a bigger purpose down the road. And life's not meant to be easy. Life's meant to be full of those challenges to create successes and to move you in a direction that you're meant to go. Jackson, that boy is 21 years old in college, and he treats his body like a temple most of the time. He is a college kid, but he really values his health because he knows what his body can do for him. And he had a dear friend last year go through cancer, and he was a huge support for him because he knew what it was like, and he knew the darkness that can be there, and he supported him, he prayed for him, and he really showed him how God could work in his life. So back to my daughter, it made her realize that we were going to get through this, and that it was not just that it was unfair. Life was unfair. All of the other kids could run around the playground, and she couldn't. It is now paying the dividends, and she's seen it. So it may be a direction that you weren't thinking, the way life goes, right? You're not going from point A to Z. And that's not the way life works. I know that now, and I enjoy every moment of every day, and in the depths of it, even in the darkness. I always will put in our family group chat what I'm grateful for, and that is a way that I can speak to my family, but also focus my own thoughts on what is God giving me today, the beauty of the day, the fact that I have both arms and legs, the fact that my vision is improving, the fact that my hair is thicker now than it was when in my 20s. Is it absolutely as thick as I want it to be? No. But is it better than what it was? Absolutely. And I'm so grateful. I would sit with my daughter, and when she was going through these periods of just no energy or not feeling good, she would just cry and say, Mom, I just want to run around the playground with my friends, and I can't. And days like the jogathon, I know you guys all know what those are, were stressful because I didn't know if she was going to be able to run like all of the other kids. It was so hard to watch. And coming from an athletic background where I was always an athlete, I just didn't understand what it was like to not have that energy and to be a kid and to do the things that your friends are doing. So fast forward, that girl's 19 and she is at USC and she's rowing for that top college program. She's working out twice a day and she's maintaining good grades, has a healthy social life, and she's thriving. And it makes me beyond happy. I actually have not cried a tear for missing her, only because she is in such a good place with so much good energy and sees God working in her. It's just amazing. And she wouldn't know what it feels like to have no energy if she didn't go through what she went through. So now she's taking her body and using it to do something and doesn't take it for granted. She is so appreciative of what her strong body can do and her muscles and her lungs and her brain. And we've gotten her through the anemia, through supplements and through diet. And we had to tweak things. And that's where God has worked through me with my business in finding supplements and dietary tweaks, and maybe the healthy foods are actually poisonous to the body or hurting your lung function or actually depleting your body of the iron, and that's making you anemic. Whatever it is, it was a way for me to see what works in the health world through my own family. And it's helping you all with what I learned, but it's also helping my children and their faith in God and how it moves them forward, and knowing that every challenge you go through is to strengthen the muscles that you're needing for a bigger purpose down the road. If she didn't know how to have the grit and perseverance that she learned through high school, through social issues with friends, through the isolation that all of our children went through COVID, she wouldn't have that perseverance now to get her through what she's going through. And in the social realm, like every child, especially the girls, can be so tough. And especially during the pandemic, it didn't help any of our children, not mine, not yours. There was a lot of soul searching and prayer and trusting God during that time, putting one foot in front of the other. And once again, putting the blinders on. And my husband used to always say, it was 2 weeks into the pandemic, and he said, kids, it's not a race. We're in a marathon. And you just have to have that perseverance, that grit to just keep on going. And during those times, there was a lot of feelings of isolation, anxiety, depression. And I would sit and pray with my kids. As a mom, I would love to think I'm the greatest therapist. And I even took psychology classes. But as my one daughter says, Mom, that's the wrong thing to say. You're not validating our feelings. So I knew that I couldn't always say the right things. But you want to know what? With every single one of my children, and every single time they were struggling, and I knew that I didn't know what to say, I would just hold them and I'd pray with them, and it settled them. And it was that way that God's hand was playing into our lives, and no one could get mad at me for what I was trying to say, because we were praying and it was God. And it would settle my children's hearts, and it would move them forward in their day. And when there were fits of anxiety and I could not control or do anything, we would pray, and I would actually turn on a sermon on YouTube. I would just click sermon, and that would calm the anxiety and help us move forward. And now it's like, oh, Mom, I've got this big test, or I lost the seat race and I got kicked out of the boat, or I'm having these issues with friends, or why am I having this health issue? Why now? I will tell them, I'm so excited to see what God does with this, because he's going to do something awesome. And I have just so many stories of them growing up and going through tough times where there was nothing that could answer the calling except for prayer. So let's go to my third child. When she was a baby, number one, she was a surprise. She wasn't totally planned. But we always called her Happy, because as a baby, she was smiling and she was always dancing and turning the room into a party. And she was such a gift to this family, because all four of us, my two older kids, and my husband and I, were all introverts, and we're all very serious. And she literally would turn the house into a party, and just makes things so much fun. And in elementary school, she was very smart in math, and she didn't have dyslexia, but she had a really tough time with comprehension. And kindergarten, she was one of the first to start reading words, but first grade, she was doing okay. Second grade, her reading actually went backwards, and it was very stressful because she wasn't diagnosed as dyslexia. We didn't know what to say. The teachers had no idea. In fact, her second grade teacher said, I don't know what to do with her. And I will never forget the day when we were reading a book on my bed, and she read the paragraph, and then she read it again, and she looked at me, started crying, and she said, Mom, I read these words, but they just don't make sense. And she started crying, and it was so hard to watch. And as a mom, I never had trouble in school, and I didn't understand what to do with this. I didn't know. And I literally would cry to God and say, help me with your child here. I don't know what to do. I would have the older kids read with her because I was so stressed out. I didn't want her to feel my stress. And so they would take time and they would take turns reading with her and trying to explain it to her. And I said, we're going to figure this out. You're going to do amazing things in this world. And because in my mind, if you can't read the math problems. She was good in math, but that's only going to go so far. If you can't read the math problems, you can't read history books. It affected everything. And I didn't know what to do. We prayed, and there was a person in our life, because of Jackson. Jackson had a head injury when he was younger. And the only thing that helped him was neurocranial restructuring, which is essentially chiropractic work of the head. And with that, we were introduced to this practice, and it has been amazing for me and amazing for my family. Well, this person started working on my daughter. And as he was working on her, he got her in a very relaxed state, and he would start talking about books and how when you read, you want to enjoy the process. You want to imagine yourself as the main character. What are they feeling? What are they doing? And he helped her connect the book to herself and understand it. And it was the beginning of her now eliminating the anxiety that was connected to reading and becoming a part of the book. And she actually now is a junior in high school. She does better in school than my other two kids. She's in her honors classes. I've never once questioned her about finishing homework or doing what she needs to do. And she will come into the room and say, Mom, I'm student of the semester this class. And she is in honors English. She's in honors history classes. The amount of reading that you have to do in these classes, and she is doing it, and she's doing extremely well. But what you don't know is that my two other kids did well in school early on. They didn't learn how to learn. Did you know that elementary school does not teach you how to learn. It's amazing. I hope your kids' schools did. My kids' school did not. Her ability to get through this maze and this struggle taught her how to learn. And it now, as that junior in high school, she knows how to learn better than anyone. This is her superpower that God gave her through this challenge. And it was tough thinking that your child was never going to read right. Are you kidding me? It was very, very stressful. But God used this, and it was a way to strengthen her beyond any of her or my expectations. So back to my son in high school. So here we are, where we don't have leukemia anymore. All of my kids doing extremely well with their immune systems. We've got, my business is growing. We've got a lot of supplements that are helping with the immune system and starting to detoxification and all of these things. He's growing, and he is, his mind is much stronger than his body. His body's very strong, but his mind, you don't want to get in the way of it. And he was having issues with his heart. His heart was stopping. I will never forget being woken up at 2 a.m. from him pounding on the wall in his bathroom. And he was trying to get my attention because his heart had stopped. And he was then pounding on his chest like this, trying to get it going again. And when we went to the cardiologist, we went to 2 different cardiologists because we had to find an answer. Tested his heart, was good. It was in great condition. So I had to dive deep into what to do and to learn about heart health. We had great heart health. My heart health is amazing. When I die, it's not going to be because of my heart. And I had to learn about heart health for all of you. And this lesson was being taught to me by God through my son. And my son was training like an Olympic athlete, but not supplementing or eating like one. He was low on electrolytes, and his heart is an electrical machine. It needs sodium, it needs potassium, and all the electrolytes. And that's where we came with the accelerated salt, with all those minerals. I'll never forget sitting on the end of his bed and looking at him and crying. And he said, "Mom, we did this once before. We're going to do it again." And I said, "You're right. We are." And that boy will ski and mountain bike and go to the gym all in one day because he now knows how to take care of his heart. And he knew that God had a plan. He knew that God was going to show us the light and show us the path that we needed to go on. And we fixed it. And not only did we fix it, but God showed me how to help all of you with your heart issues and the importance of certain supplements for 99% of people. There's nothing that will teach you something quicker and better than going through a challenge with your child. Like I said, he treats his body like a temple. He reads his Bible. He asks me to send him sermons when he's not feeling great or he's low or anxious. And he's not perfect. He knows what to eat. He knows how to exercise. He tries his hardest to balance life, and balance is good luck. You want to always try to balance your life, but nothing's perfect, and it's always a moving target. But the effort and the devotion to doing the right thing is always there. Okay, another example, 2015. I was doing better. My health was on a good path. I was driving with my daughter. She was 11 to an appointment, and we were at a stoplight, and we got rear-ended at 50 miles an hour. And my head hit the steering wheel, my eye right here. I'd never experienced, it was so funny because as soon as the accident happened, I had blood coming down my face. But I thought to myself, oh, I'll be fine. I'm just going to clean myself up and go home, and tomorrow's going to be a normal day. Well, I had to get stitches down to the bone, 4 layers of stitches. The doctor wanted me to use an antibiotic. Instead, I used the accelerated silver and my collagen supplement. Never needed the antibiotic. It healed perfectly. I don't even see the scar anymore. But that's just one of the lessons that I got from that experience. I had never experienced mental issues, never anxiety, depression, forgetfulness, anything like that. After the car accident, I couldn't remember to wash the shampoo out of my hair. The codes were on my computer, my passwords. Every time I would write the market list, I would get to item number 2 and get overwhelmed. So what was God doing with me? And I remember sitting there going, okay, God, what now? I started laughing because I knew at this point there was a purpose. 2 weeks later, I was introduced to the idea of a ketogenic diet and keto supplements, and it brought my brain back. Yes, keto is out there for weight loss and all of these things, but it brought my brain back. I didn't know the power of ketones for the body, and now for the brain. And it also helped with my insulin resistance. As soon as I corrected my insulin resistance, my PCOS went away. Imagine that. And the fact that I could help millions of women trying to get pregnant, that, oh, by the way, it's your insulin resistance. And that was like this aha moment. Okay, I now understand why I had to go through this car accident. And it was a lesson that I was never going to learn without the car accident. So in the last 3 years, the world has become really chaotic, and it's hard to know what's being told, the truth, what the truth is. And I always sit with my prayers and with God in the morning and ask, what am I supposed to do today? How am I supposed to serve other people? Because this body is not for me. I'm over it. It is not for me. It is to serve you and to serve the people in this world. And if I'm tired or without energy and somehow I don't have it in me, somehow he gives me a boost and I move. And there are very few days where I say, I wish this day could be over. But the last 3 years have really made it clear that I need to keep moving forward and helping as many people as I can, because so many are suffering, and the chaos and the evil in this world is just growing. And God has shown me who to listen to and who is on the cutting edge of science to heal the body. And with these new threats, like the spike protein, and with the changes in radiation and the changes in food toxicity, we are constantly moving in a different direction with health. We have to keep moving and progressing, and I can't stop. And how you can continue to do the right thing when we are always salmon swimming upstream. But my body's so sensitive that it clues me into things that may be causing issues with you or your body, but you don't know about it. And I'm able to figure it out to help you and give you the answers. And on a personal level with my business, there's been times where huge disruptions have happened. Partners lying or cheating or dropping me completely and going in a different direction, not knowing what the future was going to hold. And I trusted that it was always for a good reason. And every single time, it was almost like I took a step back and 1,000 steps forward. God flooded with me with blessings. And I knew it was because of my faith. And it's that faith that you know that someone's got your back. That right now is not the end of the story. It's just the comma, right? It's not the period at the end of the sentence. And even at the age of 48, I'm not at the end. I still have struggles. I still have challenges on a daily basis. But it's how you look at things. And there was one pastor that reminded me. He said, we're all going to have struggles. We're all going to have challenges. They're going to come and go. But are you going to see them as a 1 or as a 10? Are you going to have worry that's at a 10 and cause the cortisol and all of the stress ramifications that manifest in your physical body and your mental body? Are you going to allow that to take over? Or are you going to see it as a 1? Because it's going to come and go regardless. And then it's going to not affect your mental, spiritual, and physical body. And we're talking about physical health all the time. Sometimes it's not about the supplements and diet, but it's about the diet that you're feeding your mental and your physical body. It's all as one. And my body is a vehicle for my purpose in life. And today is that day of reflection of why I'm here. And it's what drives me when everything fails me. It's a reminder that my existence is not about me. It's about helping you and helping a bigger purpose in life and raising my kids with purpose. Those challenges make you strong. And when you are knowing that you're safe, going back to the word safe, I had a dear friend who I've known since high school, and we don't see each other a lot, but we'll just text once in a while. And there was one day where out of the blue, she just texted me and she goes, Sarah, the one word that comes to me when I think of you is you make me feel safe. And I thought that could not be, that is the best compliment I could ever get, is that I make someone feel safe, because God is what makes me feel safe. Takes away the anxiety and takes away the fear. And that is just the hope that I want to give you. Whatever your challenges, whatever your health issues are, there's always a way out. And God has been mine. But just to have faith is going to take you in a much better direction and lead you to where you need to go. Your body's a miracle. Your body can heal itself. And I tell my kids that all the time. I tell you that all the time. Your body can heal itself, and trust and have faith. So I hope you take this message in a good way and in light. Whether you're a Christian, a Buddhist, whatever your faith is, whether you just believe that the universe has got your back, I just wanted to share my journey with my kids and my family and myself. And I'm an open book. And there's a poem that really reminds me of what I've gone through. And I'm going to read it for you. One night, I dreamed a dream. As I was walking along the beach with my Lord, across the dark sky flashed scenes from my life. For each scene, I noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to me and one belonging to my Lord. After the last scene of my life flashed before me, I looked back at the footprints in the sand, and I noticed that at many times along the path of my life, especially at the very lowest and saddest times, there was only one set of footprints. This really troubled me, so I asked the Lord about it. Lord, you said once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I noticed that during the saddest and most troublesome times of my life, there was only one set of footprints. I don't understand why. When I needed you the most, you would leave me. He whispered, my precious child, I love you. I will never leave you. Never ever during your trials and testings. When you saw only one set of footprints, it was then I carried you. So with that, I leave you. And I hope this was inspiring on this day. And I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you on your health journey. And remember, it's all a body, mind, and spirit. So thanks for joining me on this special day. And you can contact me through the website, SaraBantaHealth.com, and help you on any of your health issues. And please do join the free group coaching, because it's not censored. It's on Telegram with the link below, and I teach you on a daily basis and give you motivation and tips and tools to enhance your health. Make sure you join us every week, Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. And you can find everything we do with our supplements and the podcasts on SaraBantaHealth.com. Thanks again, and Merry Christmas.